Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Family Show, the very awesome family show. With me today, I have Christina Flach, and this is season 3, episode 3. And you are the CEO and the founder of Pretty Girl Makeup. So I don't know how much makeup I want to talk with you today. I did learn a lot, though, when I was researching the for the interview. And on Instagram, you're Pretty Girl Makeup and Christina Flach Makeup. And I have your YouTube channel in the description as well, so people can check that out. And you do, from what I read in your bio and what I heard and everything, you do makeup for celebrities. Is that correct?
I do. I'm a celebrity makeup artist. Yes.
I kind of wanted to ask you, as a guy,
Okay.
how is it? Like, do you have any funny stories of guys coming in and like, oh, I don't want to do the makeup at all? Because I know they have to do it for the camera and all that kind of stuff and help keep, so I know the reason why. But have you had some that come in there and like, I don't want to do makeup at all and all that kind of stuff? And then
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark
Zuckerberg declined my services.
Wow. I was gonna say, were there any that after you did it for TV or whatever, they asked you for like, I kind of look good like this. Can you tell me how to do this in my off time?
I can't really say. That would be,
that'd be giving away secrets. But there are some that have done that.
Yeah, no, I can't really say, but a lot of times they come get into my chair after they've been on a long flight and they're not in the best of moods, and so I get some aromatherapy oils out and massage their hands and like right in here and get them in a good mood. And so usually after they've had that, then they don't mind what I do to them.
Right. And is there any kind of makeup that you'd like to be able to do one day that you haven't got to do?
Know how to, I know how to make people beautiful and look the best, like the best versions of themselves, but I don't know how to do like scary makeup or like prosthetics, like in films to make someone look really old or really, ugly or bad skin and stuff. Like I would love to know how to do that. That's a completely art form that I have zero knowledge or skill. And so that would be something I would like to one day know how to do.
Yeah, that seems like it's a whole different art form in itself, because you almost have to build a face on top of a face on some of them.
That's true. Yeah, and then you also have to like kind of blend it into the neck and the hands as well. They show the hands; they have to look as old as the face and the neck. So
right, wow,
it's a whole thing.
Wow,
I have such respect for those makeup artists.
Yeah, I can only imagine the hours. Just their hands must get arthritis.
It's so intricate, and it has to be perfect. And then, especially on a film, you have to take a picture of your final face and make sure every day that you film that it has to be consistent. So it's very important to do. So it's very stressful and a hard thing to do. For sure.
Is there any any TV or movies that we would have seen your work in?
Well, I just completed a TV show with Isaiah Washington. He used to be on Grey's Anatomy. And so we did a show called Kitchen Talk, and it was on Fox. It just aired last year. We filmed that in LA right before the shutdown. And we're going to start season 2 in June. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I'll have to watch that just because I talked to you.
A fun talk show in the kitchen. And it was super cool because every guest, we filmed in a different house. And then they cooked a meal that, something that inspired them. And then they just had really natural conversation while they cooked and ate. So it's pretty neat because if you think about it, when you're home and you have friends over, all the interesting conversation always happens to be in the kitchen while dinner's being made. And so it was a great concept and a lot of fun to do. I really enjoyed it.
Did you get to know them more personally doing that kind of job than?
Yes. I mean, you're with that person, we shot 10 shows and I'm with them, every day, all day long and, one-on-one. So, I became really good friends with Isaiah and I enjoyed him so much. He's a really lovely person.
Now, I'm sure it's not that big a deal now, but when you started, did you have any like fan moments of anybody that came in and did makeup?
Well, I met, Condoleezza Rice. I went down
Oh,
to
wow.
Stanford and met Condoleezza Rice and for Time Magazine, and Ted Cruz and Journey and Metallica and
Man, now you're making me jealous when you
yeah,
say
so
Journey
a
and
lot of really
Metallica.
cool people.
That's really awesome. As far as meeting them, I know some of them might be different in person than what you picture them as, of course, but
They're all actually really nice. I mean, I'm really lucky. I have had really good experiences with, almost everyone that I've worked with. And I really am blessed that I'm able to have that one-on-one time with them to have pretty intimate conversation about their life, my life. And it's really great. It's one of the best parts of my job is being able to, speak with people that I wouldn't normally have interaction with, and
yeah,
that's really kind of a neat, fun piece of the puzzle of my job.
it's one of the things I kind of enjoy about doing this, like getting to talk to you. And one of the things in your bio is you talk about you losing a child and as an infant, and I lost my little brother when he was 5 days old. He ended up having tumors on his heart and lungs,
Oh,
and you also lost your husband to sepsis, and so do you with your work, do you go into that and talk to the people that you work with about that kind of stuff?
It comes up often because, most of the people that I've worked with, they know me, or they know my husband, or, they know my last name's Flach, and they know that, Ken was a professional tennis player. And so
Oh, wow.
it comes up. It comes up a lot. Yeah.
And is there any so I know a lot of the things, like for me personally, I do the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline because I've dealt with a lot of that in my family and dealt with that myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so is there any organization that you work with? Is there any organization for sepsis, or is it something that you're just...
I work heavily with the Sepsis Alliance, and there's their website is sepsis.org. If your listeners would like to go there and find out more about what the signs are of sepsis, which are, there's a little timetable. It's called TIME, and T is for temperature. You can be either incredibly hot or cold. I is for infection in some part of your body, whether, for example, for my husband, he had bronchitis, which turned into pneumonia. And then it turned into sepsis because his doctors didn't see him. So then M is for mental decline. They're kind of hard to rouse. It's hard for them to just be all there. And then it's for excruciating pain. They're in excruciating pain. You feel like you're dying because you are. Sepsis is an infection of blood, and it affects, it attacks all your vital organs. So if the infection gets into your bloodstream and you become septic, your organs begin to shut down. And so that's, all of them. And it's very quick, and it's incredibly aggressive. And, it's, if you get tested, if you go to the, emergency, there's a blood test that you can take, and they know within 20 minutes whether you're septic or not. And if you are, they give you an IV antibiotic, and you can be saved. But there's definitely a golden window of time that if you're seen, given the antibiotic, you will survive. If not, you'll have an unfortunate outcome like my husband had.
Wow. So it's more of a preventative thing than just knowing the signs, because if it's simple, like an antibiotic, which as far as medicine goes these days, that's pretty simple medicine to get to help you. Yeah, it's important to know. And I appreciate you sharing that. And I enjoy the fact that you are able to talk about that instead of not talking about it and letting people know what's going on and what you've dealt with. And how did you go about founding your company? Was it you didn't enjoy the makeup that other companies provided, or was it something you worked with your husband, or is it something that happened after? I'm just kind of curious about how that all
Well,
got
I've had
started.
my company quite a long time, actually. I founded it in 1999, so it's a really long
wow.
time ago. And I use lip gloss a lot. I drink a ton of water, and I have 5 children, and so I'm constantly adding on lip gloss, and it kept coming off. And so I thought, I'm going to invent my own lip gloss. I couldn't find one that stayed on long enough, so I worked with a chemist, and it took a long time, a lot longer than I had anticipated. It took almost a year to formulate the texture and the colors. I'm self-funded, so I didn't have an endless supply of money, and so I wanted all the colors that I had to be able to look good on all skin tones. So it took quite a long time, because you would get some samples from the chemist, and then you would try them out on yourself and your friends, and then you have to send back notes, and then they would tweak it some more, send it back. So it just kind of went on. And so it was definitely a longer process than I thought, but I enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun to do. And I am looking forward to creating more products this coming year. I have investors coming in, and we are going to expand the Pretty Girl line, and we are going to create a new skincare line and a hair care line. So I'm really looking forward to that process as well.
What are some of the, is it more fun to do the makeup for an event, like when you did, met Condoleezza Rice and stuff like that, for a special cover or something like that? Or is it more satisfying to be on like a TV show where you're doing it day after day with the same people?
I don't prefer one over the other at all. I really enjoy any job that my agents book me. I love to do fashion. And I love to do the TV. That's fun too. And then, I work with the Food Network a lot. I work with a bunch of athletes, Fox, all the networks. It really doesn't matter to me. And that's what's fun is I'm in a new place all the time, and I meet new people. And so there's not one more than I prefer than the other. I think they're all fun.
Well, I would think the Food Network, that probably is a little bit more involved, especially if they're eating the food. You're probably doing a lot of touch up during.
Yeah, you are. There's a lot of lights, so they're sweating. So you have to go in there and blot it up and make sure they don't look shiny. So it's great. It's always interesting because they're speaking about food or an interview with someone. So you get to learn about different foods or wine, and everyone has a story. So it's always fun to hear someone else's story.
So how did you end up in that business? Was it something that you always dreamed of doing, is doing makeup?
No, actually, and it's so funny how life is. I didn't, if I was like, 12, I would never have said, oh yeah, I'm going to be a makeup artist.
That was last thing on your mind.
That wasn't what I got. I did start, my mom was very beautiful, and she had brain cancer. And so she went through chemo and radiation and lost her hair, and her skin got, yucky and everything. Mm-hmm. And so she was going out on a date with my dad. And I just said, oh, Mom, let me do your makeup. I want to make you look pretty. And so I didn't even know I had any makeup skills, quite frankly. And I put foundation and, I just did everything what I do. I didn't even know I know how to do it, but I did. And I just loved how great she looked, but it was so fabulous how she felt. Like her attitude totally changed, her outlook changed, and she felt like herself. And so that's the one thing that I really love of my job is making people feel good. It's super important, especially on TV and, photographing, a photo shoot, is that the person, the model, the actor, the athlete, or whomever, it's really important that they're in a good mood. And so that's one that I'm very blessed of trying to make people feel good and happy before they get on set, because they look totally different when someone's in a good mood than if they're not in a good mood. So that's a big part of my job, is making sure that they have food and something to drink. Like, oh, did you get any water? Did you eat? Besides making them look good, So it's definitely something, well, probably being a mother of so many children, I mother everybody. Right.
It's kind of almost your, just to have something like that work out where you helped your mom. It's almost like it's, that's the gift that God gave you is to make people feel good and look good, even if it's just for a little while. They probably forget about their troubles while they're in your makeup chair.
Definitely.
And I'm kind of curious because I'm just getting into doing video stuff and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of fascinated by the whole process. What's it like to go on to like a movie set and be in those trailers? Is it like hours of waiting for 5 minutes of action?
And what do they say? Hurry up and wait. Yeah, it is. But so that's kind of what's nice about having my makeup company is that, I bring my computer and I bring it on set. And so in between clients or whatever, I can still answer emails or write an article or, answer questions or whatever it is I need to do. So I keep busy no matter where I am. And on set, there is a lot of waiting, but there's a lot of interaction and you just and you have to kind of be on your toes. You can't be so engrossed in an email or whatever and say, oh, you need to wait. I have to answer this. It's like, I have to be kind of all the time looking to make sure that I'm not needed on set because I wouldn't go over so well that I'm on my computer when I need to be tending to.
Right. Exactly. And, we got a few people in here. Shanna Craft saying hello to you. Living Simple Homestead and Outdoors on Van Life Mode is in here. Justin and Christina's RV Van Life is in here as well. Ava Potterfield and Friends. Got Dan M in here and Linda M. And is there, because I've seen you do interviews and stuff on your channel as well. Is there anybody that's on your want to interview list that you'd like to do one day?
Oh my gosh, there's so many people I'd like to interview. Oprah, I don't know, everybody.
Well, Oprah, come on. I mean, I think anybody that does interviews, if they had a chance to interview Oprah, would do it. At least I know I would. I mean, my mom used to watch her when I was younger. I don't really watch her, but a chance to interview Oprah, you kind of don't pass that one up.
No, I love meeting, it's so funny. There's no one, it doesn't mean they don't need to be famous to be a good interview. Just, everyone's got a story. Honestly, I get brides in my chair or, you'd be surprised the different people open up to you when they get in your chair. It's kind of like a hairdresser. They just tell you everything. And I don't know, maybe it's my personality, but people seem to tell me things that they wouldn't tell their best friend. And I definitely keep a lot of secrets for people that I will never share because it would be, not cool. And I probably wouldn't get hired again. So,
right. Exactly. For those two reasons, especially.
Yeah. So I'm very good at, when I listen, that's one thing you have to learn when you're a makeup artist is you need to figure out if the person wants to talk or if they want quiet or if they want to speak to you. So you need to quickly figure out in about 5 seconds what that person needs at that moment. And sometimes you just need quiet. They want quiet, or sometimes they just need to tell you all kinds of things and you just listen and just go, oh, okay, I'll keep that in the vault.
Now, does that help you when they're talking like that? Does that help you with the makeup as well? Like with a style that might work with their personality better?
Well, I think, people, especially women, they get into they're very habit forming in the way they look. And they get so accustomed to looking a certain way that sometimes if I come in and even if I'm going to make them look 100 times better doing it the way I think would be appropriate, they're so uncomfortable with that much change that it gets them off and they're not comfortable and they're not very open to looking like that. And it's not going to go over well. So I've had some people that are like, no, you have to be some people are open to change. Some people do not want any change. They're uncomfortable with themselves. It's got nothing to do with me. So I have to be very sensitive to how I always ask them, is there something that you want, something you don't want? Just, tell me. So you have to be a very good listener and it doesn't matter what I think or what I know will look better. It's just making sure that the person is comfortable. So when they get in front of the camera, they feel good and that they can do what they need to do.
So how did you, when you first, you made your company, how did you get into doing the TV production stuff? Did you start out doing like brides and that kind of stuff at first, and then
Oh
you
yeah,
just
I
happen
started.
to meet somebody that got you in the door?
Yes. And then I was very blessed to get an agent and a publicist. And, once that happened, a lot of doors opened for me. And then, you start meeting people, different celebrities or whatever, and then they'll refer you to other people. And so it's a lot of word of mouth, but mostly it's because I have really good agents that book me great jobs. It's such a blessing. I mean, when my agents call, I just say yes. I don't even ask
Right.
what it is. I just say yes. And I'm thrilled to, have the opportunity to go work and get paid. I get paid really well. And it's fun to go meet someone new and be in a place that you've never been,
Yeah. So what would you say to somebody out there? Because when you said, "Oh, I don't like the lip gloss, I'm just going to make my own lip gloss." There's a lot of people that say that, but what made you, really hunker down and say, "I'm going to do this"? Like, what was your experience up to that point that said, "I'm just going to go for it no matter what"? Like, was there a certain moment in your life that you had happen?
I don't even really know. I just thought, oh, I can make lip gloss, and I'll make one that's got, you know what? Ignorance is bliss. One of
Yeah.
my clients is Tyler Florence. He's a celebrity chef, and we were chatting one day, and he asked how my company was doing, and I just said, oh my gosh, I can't believe how long everything takes, how much money everything takes, and he said, it's better that we don't know how long things are going to take, because no one would do anything if they knew how hard or how much money or how much time it was going to take. So I actually agree with him, because if you're told, oh wow, it's going to take you 20 years and to become successful or whatever, you'd be like, oh, it's just too much time and effort. But you have to enjoy the process. I enjoy being on set. I enjoy creating my products. I enjoy creating fun, new names, and different things, and seeing the makeup trends and how I can incorporate that into my company. And you have to enjoy what you do, because it is a 7-day-a-week job. It's not, oh, I'll take the weekend off. When you're a CEO or whatever, it's all the time.
Right.
I'm not saying some days I work 12, 14 hours, but I've never take a day off from not
A
doing
lot of emails and texts and all that
emails,
kind of stuff all the time.
media. There's just a lot more. You're not handed a CEO book. You kind of start little by little, and it expands. And the more you do, and it's just more you have to do. So
And then eventually you got to get other people to help. And
yes.
and I'm not at the point of having agents yet. Maybe one day, but Living Simple Homestead and Outdoor says it pays to have good agents, and you'd probably agree with that, because I'm
Oh
sure
my
there's
gosh,
some agents that you wouldn't want to deal with.
no, my agents are everything. And I'm very grateful to them, because they've given me opportunities that are life-changing to my career. I mean, I got Hillary Swank and Dana Perino, Tucker Carlson. I mean, I've had just amazing people that I have worked with, and it's all thanks to the agents. And so I'm very grateful to them.
Well, I may have to look into one day, but I'm doing pretty good on my own as far as
Good for you.
getting people here. Um, uh, oh, this Living Simple Home says, they said, "I know how you feel that they own a construction firm and lived from their computer and cell phone." I'm sure you do that a lot.
Absolutely. I have,
Is it
at the same time, I'll have the phone, the computer, and the iPad all at the same time, and I'm doing something different. So yes,
Yeah.
that's all very true.
Yeah, my roommate tells me, like, how can you listen to two things at once? I'm like, I got to, man. I got to be able to listen to this, and I got to be able to listen to that, or else I'm not going to keep up with it sometimes.
Yes.
Where if you had an opportunity to go back in time and work on any movie that you could, like, is there any movie that's your favorite that you wish you could have worked on the makeup and
That's
just
a
seen
great
the behind the
question.
scenes?
Oh my gosh, there's so many, but I think what's coming to mind is like Breakfast at Tiffany's. Oh my gosh, So anything with Julia Roberts and Sandra Bullock, that would be fun.
I would think Breakfast Club would be fun.
Breakfast Club would be fun.
All those kids before they were, really famous. Yeah. Yeah. How would one, for the people out there that want to do makeup artistry, how would they go about getting into the profession? Like, what's a good foot in the door?
Well, I would probably just start doing as many faces as you can get in your makeup chair. There's, what do they say, 10,000 hours before you become really good at it. And I truly believe that. I have worked on so many faces, you have no idea. And, at the beginning, I didn't get paid. I was just happy to have a face, a new canvas to work on. I think that's how to start. And then start, you get a Yelp page or whatever, and you start doing weddings and photo shoot. Contact photographers and say, or do you need a makeup artist and do hair? When I got my first agents, I was with Ford, New York. I did not know how to do hair. I'm a makeup artist. I didn't go to beauty school. I don't cut or color hair, but my agent said, oh, okay, so you're going to do hair and makeup. And I'm like, oh, no, I only do makeup. And they're like, not anymore. You need to figure out. So you start watching YouTube, and I don't know how I did, but I started doing hair for photo shoots. So I can make someone look really great for a photo shoot hair. And I, again, still don't cut or color hair, but I can make people look like the best versions of themselves for a photo shoot.
Well, you have amazing talent if you're able to do that. That's for sure. And you have the 5 kids. So I kind of wonder, are any of them rebellious as far as makeup wise and just do stuff that drives you up the wall?
Actually, no. My girls they're very beautiful, and Melania and Rose, they actually do their makeup really well. In fact, I've hired my daughter Melania to do some photos with me when I need an assistant, and she's incredibly talented. But again, she is a fashion designer, so she's got that artistic eye. Mm-hmm. And actually, Rose has gone on photo shoots with me as well. She helped me with Jaylen. We did a photo shoot with Jaylen Brown. He's plays for the Boston Celtics. And right before he turned pro, we did a documentary with him and a photo shoot. And so Rose came with me. So it's fun when I get to work with my daughters. And my Melania and I did a magazine shoot together. She was a stylist. She did all the clothing for the shoot. And so we were in a magazine together, which was really fun.
That is really neat. Is it kind of exciting? Because I don't have any kids, but I imagine it kind of makes you proud that they can kind of follow in your footsteps a little bit.
I am incredibly proud of all of my children, and I love seeing their talents. Rose is a screenwriter in LA. She went to NYU Film School, and she writes for TV and film. So I'm amazingly proud of her. And Melania graduated from Central St. Martin's in London. It's like the top fashion school in the world. And she's created her own fashion line called Rouja, and she's doing very well. So I'm very proud of my kids, and I'm happy that they found a passion in life, doing what they enjoy doing. And I think I've told them all along when they were growing up, figure out what you love to do, that you would do even if you didn't get paid, and then figure out how to get paid. And they've done that. And I'm really happy because, to be successful, you have to work so many hours. So you might as well figure out what to do that brings you joy and happiness. So you don't mind working 1 million hours a day and 7 days a week.
Right. And that's something that I found. And it's good that you told your kids that, because if I could have done this when I was younger and made a career out of it, if I would have had the opportunity, instead of working right in high school and just working right out of high school and not going to college and all that kind of stuff, if I would have had the opportunity and taken it by the horns when I was younger, I would have done it. Now I'm 38, so I'm still young as far as life goes, but I would have done it. And so that's something that I can say that makes you a very good mother to your children to do that.
My kids have been very blessed as well, that they kind of figured out at quite a young age what it is that they love doing. And so like my daughter, Melania, the fashion designer, she was making clothes for her Barbies when she was 8. Like she knew.
Oh, wow.
She knew very young. And then Rose was like, in high school and junior high, just a very talented writer. And so she knew what she wanted to do. So I think they've been extra blessed that they kind of figured it out at a young age. Like I didn't know at, 18 that I was going to become a makeup artist and, own a makeup company. I would never have in a million years thought that that was even anything in the realm of possibility. So they've been very fortunate to figure out what it is they love doing.
Have there been any times since you've owned your company where you've thought about giving it up, like in the early days where you thought you weren't going to make it? It was by the skin of your teeth that you made it to the next month?
After my son, Bo, passed away, I didn't really care about anything. And I pretty much let my company just kind of float along and exist. I just didn't really care. And so, yeah, that was kind of a dark period. I just didn't, I literally was going to close it down. I just didn't care. And so that was for a good year, I think. It's hard to even remember that time. It was so hard, but I'm glad I didn't let it completely go, down the toilet.
Right.
But, life is very interesting. There's waves, there's ups and downs and all arounds. And I think if you can learn to ride the waves, the highs and the lows, and just know that, this is a moment, it's going to pass, good and bad, you can just keep it going.
Right. Right.
Very hard. And then after my husband died as well, it was very hard for me to, I remember I called after my husband died, of course, my agents knew what was going on. And a week after, I called my agent and I said, book me a job, because I'm always happiest when I'm on a shoot. And she's like, are you sure? And I said, yeah, just book me something. And so she booked me a job with a lingerie company. And I went on site and I thought I was okay, and I really wasn't. And it was too much for me to handle, but I got through it. Mm-hmm. I'm really grateful that I've had my job that does bring me so much joy. And little by little, I was able to get back on set. And there was one day I was shooting with Mark and Graham. It's a company owned by Williams-Sonoma. And I had worked with this particular team for years, and they know me really well. And they knew that I was really sad, and I would do my job, and then I'd go back and just kind of be by myself, which I normally didn't. I was just pretty quiet. And then this song came on, and I remember I just said, oh, I like that song. I think that makes me happy. And they're like, keep playing that song, keep playing that song. I played that song over and over because it made me happy. So then after that, anytime that song came on, they're like, there's your song. But I'm really grateful with, a lot of people have been incredibly kind and generous to me, during the last 3 years since my husband passed away. It was so hard. And it's really helped my grieving process. The Sepsis Alliance, raising awareness for others to not lose their person. And then I started, I don't even know how this happened, but I started speaking about grieving in a positive way. I had started a foundation for my son, Bo, at the Northern Lights School in Oakland after he passed, and then another one for my husband, the Ken Flach Educational Fund. And then at the Edna McGuire School in Mill Valley, California, my friend Lisa Zimmer, who's the principal at the time, there was a garden there that was just in need of a lot of love. So we raised a lot of money, and then they added an outdoor classroom and named it after my son, Bo, which is great. Mm-hmm. And I just started feeling like, you grieve, everyone grieves differently, and there's no right or wrong way. But for me, I felt like honoring my loved one, my son, my husband, my mom. I think it's a way of honoring them by keeping their memory alive, but doing something positive for others. The educational fund. My son, Ben, who is Bo's twin, there's a golf tournament. Vita Blue puts on a celebrity golf tournament every year. And they had a golf tournament there that on a special, on the hole 5. And then Ben would go on it for the last 4 years. And it was called Beat the Kid. And people would give him money to hit the golf ball. And he raised, the first year was like 3,000, then 6, and then 12. Wow. And then last year before the shut-in, he raised $35,500 in one day for his twin and his dad for their funds. And, I told Ben, I'm like, I am so incredibly proud of you. You're amazing. And he's like, Mom, I played golf today. Who cares? And I said, Ben, you didn't just play golf today. You raised money for 3 kids to go to school, to private school for an entire year. And so those 3 children are, that's going to change their lives, which changes the family's life and communities. And so I'm incredibly proud of my son, Ben, that he's just 13. He's 13. And
wow, that's amazing. Yeah, he doesn't really have the concept then yet what he's doing. No. I think you should keep in touch with, or find out if you can, the students that he's helped, and then years later, maybe have them write a letter how amazing it is that they get to go to school, and then when he graduates, say, here's what you did back when you were 13, and you changed these people's lives.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I agree. I think it's great, and I think it's so important for, and all of my children, not just Ben, they have all donated their time and efforts to the Northern Lights School, to help these kids. And I feel so good about that because it's something that they've done from a young age. And I think that if you start helping others and giving back at a young age, that you're more inclined to do that throughout your life. And I do think that brings joy into your life, even when things are bumpy and hard. If you can, help someone less fortunate, and I know it sounds so cliche, but it truly, if you can help someone else, everyone else, there's always someone else that has, more issues or more burdens or difficulties in their life than you. You think yours is the worst, and it's not. There's people that are so much worse off. So if you can help someone else, I think it's just really a great thing to do.
It's also, I've said it before, and I've heard other people say it before. It feels really selfish too, because it makes you feel good to help other people out as well.
That's true.
So
it is. It's a good selfish.
Yeah, and if people were selfish like that in the world would be a lot better place if everybody was selfish like that.
I agree. I think it would be a better place, and I hope everyone, and it doesn't need to be a huge thing. You could go read books to children. I mean, everyone could do a little tiny something, and the world would be a better place. And it doesn't take a lot. You just have to figure out something that, education and nutrition are like 2 big important passions of mine in life. And at the Baby Bow, garden at the Ed McGuire School, kids are able from kindergarten through 5th grade to go and plant seeds and watch it grow to a fruit or a vegetable, and they pick it and then they eat it. And I think, when you grow your own vegetables and fruit and you start eating them, like picking a tomato off a bush, you are much more inclined to have good, nutritional diet, in your growing up your entire life. And so if you can start that at a young age, being open to trying new fruits and vegetables, I think that you'll have a healthier diet as you get older.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it makes you appreciate the food more too, because you see how much effort it takes just to grow a tomato. All of a sudden, picking the tomatoes off something you eat, you go, I don't know if I want to do that. That took a lot of work and effort to grow that one tomato.
Yeah, but they eat it and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Or, they'll pick lettuce off that normally they'd be like, ew, lettuce, yuck. And then
it tastes better once it's fresh.
And then they're starting to eat salads and making choices of, I'm going to eat an apple instead of a candy. And so if they're from a young age, shown, vegetables and plant, even getting in the habit of having a garden in your house, you can put, little pots and grow herbs or whatever, or grow tomatoes or fruit trees. If they can do that, they're going to do that their entire life. And so that's something I'm very passionate about. And I think is very important.
Yeah. And Adventures in Xanadu brings up a good point, which is something that I don't like either. But the healthy food is more expensive than the junk food is, and that's a huge problem.
That is true, but there are places that you can, find, Trader Joe's is not so, they have organic food that's pretty, decently priced. Even Target and Walmart are now having organic things. So, I mean, you can find things if you want to.
Yep. Yep. And Living Simple Homestead and Outdoors. Thank you for that $10 or $10 Canadian super chat. Thank you for that. It's a great interview, Bob and Christina. And I do have to say, you have a lot of passions and a lot of interests. Is there anybody that you're going to go in and laugh and have a good time when you go in and go to work and put makeup on?
Well, Isaiah, he makes me laugh.
Well, that's good.
Tyler, I mean, Dana Perino, she's hilarious. I mean, there's Claudia Cowan, she works with Fox. There's a bunch of models that I work with that I'm super close with. Olivia and Jolly. There's just all these people that I just love, and the different stylists, photographers, producers. I work with some really extraordinary people, and I love them all. They're really great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's really good to hear, because I'm hopefully one day I'd like to do this on TV and be interviewing people and almost be like Larry King and just interview everybody, because I just enjoy talking to people and learning their stories. Like, who would have thought, because for me, when I read, oh, you deal with makeup and all that kind of stuff, and for me, it's like, well,
what am I going to
about makeup? Right. Well, and I try and going in here and talking to you, and it just goes to show myself, if not, everybody else that's in here, how much more dimensional people are than what you see at their face value. And that's kind of a weird way to say it to somebody that you almost put on a different face to people, but there's more to them than the face value that you first look at. And you, like you said, they talk to you about stuff that they wouldn't talk to anybody else about. And so you probably cried and laughed with more people than you can probably remember at this point.
That's true. And, it's also, people will look at you or they'll look at me and think, oh, they don't realize that there's bumps in the road and that I've had, sadness and grief and difficulty. And I've had a lot of amazing blessings and miracles as well. Mm-hmm. But, people make assumptions about people just from how they look or what they do. And they're not always accurate. There is a lot more to people than you think. And I think that's one thing that I've learned is, there's more than that meets the eye. There's more there than just the book cover. There's a lot more. And if you take a moment to just listen and hear someone's story, you'll learn. I learned something interesting from every client I have. I went and did hair and makeup for the CFO of Google. And wow. She taught me how to, she was telling me about a trick with blowing out hair a certain way. She's like, pull it tight. And that was a great tip. Like, who would have thought that the CFO of Google would have a beauty tip for me? Another client, Amber Kelleher, she's a matchmaker. She's like the very world-renowned matchmaker. And she taught me how to make sure that the mascara has to go out even further on the lashes and little things like that. She taught me that 15 years ago. I never forget it. I always think about that anytime I put mascara on somebody. It's like, oh, Amber always said, extend it out. And so I am always learning from people, and that's fun to learn little tricks.
Yeah.
And it's not just makeup, sometimes it's personal things or food or drink. It could be anything, you can learn something from everybody. So that's one thing I've definitely learned having this job.
One thing I always stuck with me is I had one person tell me that, and this one, they kind of changed my mindset, was, and it's so simple when she said it, but it's called the present for a reason, because it's a gift. Absolutely. And it really changed my, whoa, present, never really thinking about that word in that way when you say present. But yeah, and so once I did that and took that, it really changed my thought process.
Isn't that neat? I mean, it's so interesting that one little thing changed your perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody asked, are you doing makeup for my upcoming interviews? Well, listen, if I ever get to be the Larry King on cable TV, yeah, she can be a makeup artist for sure.
I said it's gonna have to share me.
Yeah. And see, I don't mind it. I don't, I know it's got to be used on TV. I don't have as good of lights as they do on TV, but I'm trying to get there, little piece by little piece.
Go on Amazon and get lights.
Yeah, well, that's what I have. I have USB lights.
The lights here. Woo!
Yeah.
All an illusion. This is all an illusion. It's all good. Yeah. And I hired myself today.
All right. See,
I didn't look like this a few hours ago. I'll tell you that. I hired myself, my full day rate, and gave myself a very good tip. So then,
yeah. Unfortunately, I did look this way a few hours ago. So. Yeah, I really enjoy talking to you. And if you have anything else coming up in the future, I'd love to talk to you again.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
And I'll play the credits and stick with me. And I'll tell everybody, like, this is my little catchphrase. I tell everybody, stop waiting for life to happen and make it happen. And you made it happen by just saying, I hate lip gloss that does this, so I'm going to make my own lip gloss. And you kind of took off from there. So
that's true.
All right, I'll play the credits and I'll be right back with you. And thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.